High school nightmare from teen mom to Trainwreck wedding. You won't believe the chaos that's unfolded around this girl from my high school. Picture this, senior year. She's 17 and pregnant. Fast forward just a few years. And her life has become the kind of drama you usually only see on trashy reality TV. Buckle up. Because this is going to be a wild ride. Let's call her Beth. Senior year. She gets pregnant. Super conservative parents. Gone. Kicked to the curb. She ends up crashing with a friend's family just to survive. She barely scrapes through high school, only making it thanks to the kindness of teachers and students who volunteered to help her. I remember being in her law class, and her morning sickness was brutal. I started taking extra notes, tutoring her. The works. It wasn't just me. Lots of people stepped up to help, and I know she appreciated it at the time. After graduation, she started working at a grocery store for a steady paycheck, just until she had a better plan. Then there was Adam, the first baby daddy. He started an apprenticeship while working part-time at a hockey arena. He wanted to marry Beth, settle down, the whole shebang. I don't really agree with his life choices, but this isn't about me. But after a while, she started cheating on him. She's pregnant again, and it is far more likely that this guy is the father of the child. Neither of them can afford lawyers. So getting any kind of custody agreement is a mess. And everything is okay for about 9 months. When she finds out Brad has been cheating on her with his cousin, Brad decides to pay child support but doesn't really want contact. She moves back in with her parents. We're all 20. Back because there are grandchildren around. On the plus side, she started working as a dispatcher for a year. Then there's Chad, the police officer. We'll call him Officer Douchebag. He's 26 and a cousin. I can't remember how they're related. She has an affair with him. She gets knocked up. His wife divorces him. Chad proposes because it's the right thing to do. They've started planning the wedding. Given the background, it's something akin to a dumpster fire. Adam is a mess. He was desperately in love with this girl and hasn't really recovered from what she did to him. And while she rejected his proposals years ago, he still drops hints for the same reason he did back then. Adam has basically made a call for loyalty in the family, dividing everyone who should go, who should get money. Her parents have outright said that they're not going to the wedding, and her younger sister has been going around and sabotaging what plans they can make. She has asked me to be a bridesmaid. I said that I couldn't because I live in a different province now. But the truth is, I do not want to be wrapped up in that clusterfuck in any way. I'm just watching the arguments and events unfold on social media because this is, quite honestly, the most entertaining thing I've seen all year. It's weird to me that she even asked because we're not friends. We never have been. We were friendly strangers in high school. I was just being nice. But based on how she turned out, I'm just sad for her. 3 kids in 4 years. First off, all of your comments are hilarious. I'm going to answer some of the common questions. We're from a city with over 400. 0 people. She just comes from a neighborhood that is made of either Bible thumpers or white trash. But the high school we went to was in a completely different neighborhood. Our school had pretty good sex ed resources to help girls get birth control. So she wasn't in that class. She started alienating her friends after the affair with Chad came out, because people weren't exactly jumping for joy that she'd broken up a marriage. Chad and his ex didn't have any kids. When people weren't immediately ecstatic for her pregnancy, she started getting very snippy. Pregnancies so close together are just not good for her health, mental or physical. Marrying him so that she can just leave him if it happens. This doesn't seem like healthy behavior. I'll give you updates as they come out. First off, I realized I never gave this girl a name. For the sake of clarity, we'll call her Beth. I realized that I didn't mention this. But believe me, I'm well aware. It is his ex-wife and her family. So I do believe that he could potentially be taking advantage of her naivete. However, she is also an adult who is capable of making her own claims on humiliating her. She has been posting about this mess on every social media. She put this out there long before I did. Except she did so in front of friends, family, employers. Fourth, despite getting engaged in July and attempting to start planning then, I knew that there was a mess going on. But I didn't really pay attention to it until she asked me to be a bridesmaid. I said that she should talk to someone. Fifth, I realized that I didn't really talk about how disorganized they are with venues and vendors. Beth has been flipping between having the wedding while she's pregnant saying she's proud of her bump. Which is unfortunate because she's been breaking down her insecurities on a public platform. After she gets married, the great aunt says she's too old to get in a fight and has shrugged it off. Chad's immediate family is paying for the wedding and has been cut off by the rest of their extended family. Beth's wedding colors are pink and green, which is usually a nice combo. But the specific shades don't go great together. They're her and Chad's favorite colors. She was talking about these colors for 14 minutes on her Insta, and both of her kids are struggling. Adam has gotten some flack for this, but he hired a lawyer and is trying to get primary custody and not allow his daughter to go to the wedding. Beth is planning a trashy bachelorette party and has sent out a registry. She's also set up a GoFund to help pay for a honeymoon and is making a lot of demands. She's refused help offered in the past. And there's only so much of this I can take mentally right now. Update 1. Hey everyone. Sorry some stuff has gone down. I didn't update sooner. The pandemic came back with a vengeance and totally messed up plans with uni and family. Anyway, on to the updates. Beth continued posting on social media. But in December, this resulted in a petty and entertaining Facebook war until the little sis blocked her again. On December 17th. December 18th. Beth went nuts on social media because Adam had kidnapped their daughter. Living with Beth, he decided he couldn't take it anymore. They don't have a custody agreement. There were dozens of videos on her various social media accounts of her ignoring their daughter, yelling at her daughter for crying or doing other things toddlers do. It turns out that everything she needed was at his house: some food, diapers, wipes, clothes, toys, etc. On top of the unofficial child support he was paying every month. He was paying for literally everything because she refused to buy anything for her daughter and insisted it was Adam's responsibility. Additionally, Adam took their daughter to a doctor's appointment. The baby's pediatrician has never met Beth. Chad even tried to get the pediatrician to push back or intimidate him or something. Doctors are under one hell of a microscope after a bunch of dirty cops got busted a couple of years ago. The cop and the social worker they ended up calling ended up saying there was nothing she could do until they get a custody agreement. The social worker tried to get her to go to therapy and parenting classes. December 19th to 24th, just a bunch of ranting on social media, calling everyone who doesn't enable or justify her behavior slurs, and a whole bunch of other horribly creative insults. Also, both she and Chad are under investigation. I'm going to take this time to remind everyone that 99% of this info is from Beth herself. December 25th, I am officially embarrassed to know this woman. I didn't go on her FB page until the evening cause I didn't want to deal with drama. First thing in the morning, on Christmas morning, she put on a very beautiful blue maternity dress and tried to get married on Christmas Day. Part of this was because their newest venue canceled on them after COVID numbers spiked. Overall, their wedding date got pushed back several times. Beth said she chose Christmas thanks to her children because it's just so much more special. You know, I am so glad that Baby B's grandparents are filing for guardianship. The courthouse isn't open on Christmas because of COVID. For one thing, it also has a predominantly Christian history, so it wouldn't be open anyway. She proceeded to have a full meltdown. December 27th, I ran into Beth at the vaccine clinic. She didn't recognize me at first, but one of my old coworkers, 'cause I used to work at the hospital the vaccine clinic was in, called my name and said hi. We talked a bit while we sat down for the mandatory waiting period after getting the shot. She asked how I was but didn't even wait for me to respond before she started ranting and complaining about her life. I was just going to sit there until the time was up and then just politely make my exit. Then I just said, "Do you even like your kids? Do you like being a mom?" She got pretty quiet, sat for a second, and then said, "No." Her voice and demeanor completely changed, and we just sat in silence until our time was up. I said goodbye, but it was really awkward. December 31st, this is such a shocking, what the actual fuck moment. She's thinking about giving up her kids. She went on about how recently she was asked if she liked her kids or being a mom, and how she realized that she didn't. She hates her children and blames them for ruining her life and how she doesn't want to be a mom. I mean, nothing is official yet. I'll update if stuff happens, now that I have the time. But this whole thing has been a big, giant mess. Also, sorry for any formatting or grammatical errors. Update 2 okay. Also, around January 8th, Both Beth and Chad stopped posting on all social media. I was actually a little worried she died, which is pretty messed up. Oddly enough, no one heard from them. Just because she was usually the one to start drama, some people started to be genuinely worried. And some people were encouraging them to call the police for a wellness check. Beth messaged everyone, "Please stop trying to contact us right now." Everyone listened. But it was weird. Around January 15th, I got a notification that Beth and Chad are active on social media again. Yeah. But I didn't feel like drama, so I didn't check out any of their posts. Today, she messaged me on FB asking me to be her maid of honor. The Omicron variant is really bad where we are, so no one should be traveling anywhere. I've actually had to delay my trip back to my home province because of it. No one should be traveling anywhere. Beth also found out that Chad was cheating on her with one of her co-workers and posted the texts she found on Chad's phone. She says Chad is the love of her life, so she's staying with him but not talking to the other woman, which I find very hypocritical considering how she and Chad got together. She's posted possible bridesmaid dresses, and they are the most hideous dresses I've ever seen. I know that some brides do that thing where they want to look a million times better by comparison. One of them looks like a partially deflated balloon with feathers strapped to it. She's also trying to get venues and vendors to give her things for free, like their room for free, lights for free. She also wanted the money to be given to her instead of directly to the hotel, so that people wouldn't realize that she was getting things for free. Beth sent me a pic of the wedding dress she's considering. If that's what she wants, it's certainly a choice. It's not my dream wedding dress, but it's hers. She also posted a list of rules for her bridesmaids, such as the wedding is on the beach. No one is allowed to have a baby or be pregnant. Girls must have longer than shoulder-length hair. No one is allowed to be skinnier than her, based on how she wants us to look. The dresses must be paid for by anyone but the bride and groom. 'Cause that's tacky. No one is allowed to talk to her directly. We have to go through her maid of honor me. Honestly, there's a lot more, but I didn't feel like typing all that out. She's posted the list on FB and Insta, and people are already calling her a Britazilla. I decided to check her social media and see how it was before all this drama. Back in high school, nothing. No posts before senior year, based on her new pics of herself. Anyway, I asked her where her kids were. This was her response, so I left them at the side of the road on our way home from the hospital. Those moochers could walk home. Please tell me you're not being serious. And she replied, I was just joking. You shouldn't be so serious all the time. Honey, you made a joke about child abandonment abuse. You're not being serious enough. And then I finally got the update on the kids. Beth signed away her parental rights. To be honest, I didn't need the last tidbit of info or the 3-paragraph long rant about how God hates infertile women. I didn't even read all of it. It looks like the cousin and her husband are adopting the kids. They're welcoming them to the family. And the kids will have another set of grandparents and will let Beth have access to them. One thing I do need to mention is that this is moving at a snail's pace. Beth has signed paperwork, and all that needs to happen now is presenting that to a judge. Beth also admitted that she wasn't on birth control just 'cause after her first pregnancy. She asked her doctor but he refused to give her any, which doesn't make sense. Doctors prescribe birth control for many reasons beyond preventing pregnancy. Beth then asked, Did you actually think I would just leave my kids at the side of the road? I just didn't want to be a mom. But I wasn't a bad one. Me, Beth? I think that you've been through a lot of trauma in the past few years. Of course Beth has been a bad mom, but she doesn't think she needs mental health help, and I wasn't going to convince her to get it. Beth, if I said, Beth, you think I'm crazy? Me, Beth? I think you're getting kicked out as a teen because of a pregnancy, and having your family actively reject you in such a short time span would mess anyone up. I just want you to take care of yourself and get what you want in life. And I think it will start with you taking care of your mental health. Beth, what I want is for you to go straight to hell. Beth then calls me every cuss word, expletive, and derogatory word she can think of. One of the words she called me was a derogatory word about my ethnicity. And my blood is boiling that she thought it was okay to say that to me. So, I'm now on her hit list. She's been blowing up my social media all day, where she said that she still expects a good wedding gift. Yeah. Number. And I've decided to completely cut off contact. This will be my last update. Update 3. Say hi everyone. I didn't think I would be making another update. I don't know if anyone will even care. But whatever. Beth and Chad's wedding got turned down by another venue. She also doesn't know who posted the rule list publicly. I am still no contact with Beth and have no plans to change that anytime soon. But we have mutual friends who have told and shown me what's happened. First things first. According to all accounts, they're completely and utterly miserable. Though Chad has proven to be an overall lazy and unfaithful husband, there's a focus on reproductive rights. After she started using birth control and Roe v. Wade getting overturned, Chad thinks that abortion is murder and God created women for the purpose of making babies. Using Beth herself as an example, she didn't take that well and said that her entire life and future was ripped away from her, both at home and at school. Which is a fair point. Myself and many others were helpful and supportive. But there were a lot of people who judged the hell out of her and said really nasty things. Chad has made a Tinder. Beth was informed. But it doesn't seem like she gave a damn. So basically, you could cut the tension with a knife. And with her family. Her sister came out as gay and cut off contact with their parents. But she's got a partial scholarship. So she's doing okay. The sister also said that their parents messed them up by being religious nuts, and their parents encouraged them to be competitive with each other and sabotage each other, thinking competition brings out the best in everyone. Chad is getting more and more into the church and religion. Chad talked to Beth about getting baby B and baby C officially and legally back. BTW. Beth started going to therapy after she and Chad got married, which makes me very happy and excited for her. There was a rumor going around that Chad has a mistress, and it took me a while to confirm. He's cheating on her with a paramedic, and she knows. Beth is fully aware. I guess she plans to do anything about it or just continue to ignore it. But I hope she leaves his sorry ass. She deserves better than that scum in her life. I found out that she actually asked around 15 girls, including myself, to be bridesmaids without telling any of us about the others. This was because she was trying to get money from all of us and because her mental health has just been very bad and she needed help. End of story. Of those 15, only 3 were friends or friendly acquaintances from high school. And apparently, she doesn't remember our discussion at the vaccination clinic. It's hard trying to narrow that number down. Chad did the same thing with his groomsmen. Dear Beth, if this post gets forwarded to you or somehow graces your phone screen, and no, I'm not willing to talk to you again because of your words and actions. I do wish for you to have a wonderful and happy life. So, here's the big question with all of this information. With all this drama that's unfolded, do you think I handled this situation correctly? Was cutting off contact the right move? Or should I have tried harder to get her to see reason? I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts and perspectives on how this whole mess went down, especially considering our history and the things she's been saying and doing lately. So please let me know if you think I did the right thing or if there's something else I should have tried to do, given these bizarre circumstances that are now unfolding before me.